This evening, you can see it swirling right over my shoulder here, what's being called a superstorm tonight. Hurricane Sandy is more than 200 miles off the coast and is about to crash into two other systems when it makes landfall. And look at this picture tonight. This is from space, from NASA. It's a massive storm, 1,000 miles across. And long before it makes landfall, sometime tomorrow night, it is already being felt tonight all along the coastline. Whipping winds and rains have already flooded many communities beyond the coastline. And the number of Americans impacted by this storm will be enormous. 60 million people, really anyone east of the Mississippi, will be affected. Hundreds of thousands have already been evacuated tonight. And this evening we've learned schools are already closed for 2 million children tomorrow across 7 states and Washington, D.C. As they all ask now, what about Halloween? And this tonight, the potential danger zone reaching 800 miles inland from the East Coast. Tonight, blizzard warnings have already gone up across some states. And here tonight, a 3D view just in Sandy's path right off to North Carolina tomorrow morning, turning inward to the coast. You can see our extreme weather team on all of this tonight. Sam Champion has the track in just a moment here, but let's begin with ABC's Matt Gutman, who's been pounded all day there off the coast of North Carolina. Matt.
Good evening, David, from a very wet, loud, and surprisingly cold North Carolina. We've been feeling these 60-mile-per-hour gusts of wind. Now, Hurricane Sandy, this is not a glancing blow from her, even though she's 260 miles offshore. For the past 24 hours, we've been feeling this relentless wind, rain, and as you can see, the waves exploding onto the pier behind me. Now, a number of communities here in the Outer Banks have been cut off, like Cape Hatteras, because of flooded areas. And you may notice this white foam that's rising up right now. It kind of looks like snow, but this has all been churned up by that rising sea. Now, a lot of people consider hurricanes tropical systems, that they're warm. This is decidedly cold, and all this icy air is pushing northwards. David?
All right, taking a beating there in North Carolina. Matt Gutman, our thanks to you tonight. Why, we asked tonight, is everyone calling this a superstorm, and where is the track right now? Let's bring in ABC weather editor Sam Champion, who's been tracking this all day. He's in Lower Manhattan tonight, where there could be a huge storm surge. And Sam, if you will, let's start with the track. Where is Sandy right now?
Yes, sir, David. Hey, David, that picture you showed behind you of the cloud canopy, I just have to mention that the clouds stretch from the Carolinas all the way to Hudson Bay and really spike north almost to the Arctic Circle. This is an impressive, incredible cloud canopy. It is one of the largest, if not the largest, we've ever seen in the Atlantic hurricane basin. Let me also show you this track. As you mentioned, we've only seen a slight little wobble, a little change in the last few forecast paths. And that is, if you look, still expected to make the turn on Monday toward the coastline, and then find the spot right around Atlantic City Tuesday by 2 o'clock in the morning. That's been the spot that's been going up and down the Jersey Shore a little bit, but right now that's where it's settled. And then follow it running all the way into Maine, just north of Maine, David, by the time we get into Friday.
All right, the latest track tonight, Sam. And so why is this a superstorm? What's combining here to create such a massive system?
It's a really good question because people just don't understand that term, but it's kind of easier to show you. So here's what we did, David. We took a couple of things, we put it in a 3D graphic, and here's why, or here are the elements that make this storm a superstorm. All night long, Sandy marches up the East Coast, practically parallel, more than 200 miles offshore. It will collide with an Arctic front coming in from the west, throwing a new dose of energy into the storm and expanding its already monster size and reach. Then inject the 150-mile-an-hour plus winds of the jet stream, and forecasters think Sandy explodes into a superstorm. So it's difficult to categorize this storm as anything other than a superstorm. It's a hurricane and then some, but it has all the effects that a hurricane would have. And let's start with surge. First, where I'm standing right here could have an 11 and a half feet of additional water in New York Harbor. We looked it up to see if that had ever happened before. We'd only been able to find 10 feet in New York Harbor back in 1960 as a surge. So it seems to be unprecedented. And look at the storm surge and its reach all the way up from Rehoboth Beach, well north into the coast of Maine. Then look at those strong gusty winds. We think the winds will be hurricane force in gusts, particularly as they go from that Norfolk coastline to Washington to New York and all the way up into Boston. And the 60, 80 mile per hour winds continue all the way into Pittsburgh. Its driving rains will be another problem, not just coastal flooding, but real flooding from rain, and lots of it. From Pittsburgh to New York to Washington, D.C. to Norfolk, there's the opportunity to get 6 to 8 inches of rain. Some people will see more than a foot of rain from this storm, David.
Wow, the rain and the winds, as you point out. And Sam, just before we came on the air, you were telling me about blizzard warnings just up tonight.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. The National Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia put this out. 1 to 2 feet above, about 3,000 feet expected in the mountains there, West Virginia, Virginia, and Maryland. And then listen to this, 6 states, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky already have issued winter storm watches or warnings for the snow that will be on the back cold side of this system as it pulls away, David.
All right, Sam, we'll look for you a little later in this broadcast. In the meantime, as you heard Sam report right there, Sandy will almost likely come ashore right near Atlantic City in New Jersey sometime tomorrow night. But this evening, major evacuations underway, and the National Hurricane Center is warning it could be life-threatening, this storm surge there. ABC meteorologist Ginger Z right there in a very wet Atlantic City tonight. Ginger, good evening.
Good evening, David. You can see the boardwalk is just lined with sandbags. The casinos, they're empty. Now we're in the 9 to 11 foot storm surge zone. We could get a 10 to even 20 foot wave. This whole thing could be underwater by Tuesday morning. We really are at ground zero when that beast comes on shore. It's a mandatory ghost town in Atlantic City. The iconic boardwalk boarded up. The customary cha-ching of casino floors silent. Tolls were waived to get people out fast. Buses lined up to take those who couldn't leave on their own to the shelters around the city. They're preparing here for a direct hit.
We got to get the boards up because of the weather.
So you don't intend to leave?
We tried to leave, but we couldn't find anywhere to go. We don't want to be in a shelter, so the best place is the house right now.
We found John and his friend borrowing sand from the beach and bringing it home.
Trying to block up the house and not let the water in, you know?
So you figured just to come grab it from the beach?
Right. We had to use these trash bags for now.
Dan lives right on the shore, but he's getting out. And you're worried.
Yeah, I'm really, really worried because they just told, a friend of mine said that they think it's going to hit the bay. The bay and the ocean is going to come together.
Much of the more than 200 miles of the Jersey Shore is a series of sliver-like barrier islands with water on both sides. So the concern isn't just about storm surge piling up from the ocean. It's also about storm surge coming off of bays just like this one, pushing into homes like these on the other side of these narrow islands. The storm arrives at a bad time, too, when there's a full moon. That means tides will be especially high, and any surge will be especially dangerous. Lancaster, Harrisburg, Baltimore, those are all cities that will have that inland flooding, so it won't just be coastal. We want you to remember that, too. David?
All right, we can hear the rain already hitting your windbreaker there. Ginger Z tonight. Ginger, thanks.